How are we this week? I wanted to make a video about a topic that a lot of fighters could relate to, which is absolutely being down in the dumps and having a difficult class. So, you guys have heard me talk in the past about going light with sparring and limiting going hard because you don't want to A, be a really shitty training partner, and then B, you want to preserve your own brain and not get CTE. Right? Those are obvious things, but really, there's instances though, really few far in between, where you don't really feel like going to practice, but you show up anyway, right? Like you're supposed to do if you're fighting at a high level or just wanting to be really good at this. And you end up just not feeling the best because you're either A, like pulling things, you're more prone to injury, you have that sticky feeling that something bad's going to happen. And I always try to change my mindset going into practices like that to shift my momentum to saying, hey, you're going to be okay. Don't think that way, because then you're going to invite that type of energy into your environment mentally, which is a whole slew of a disaster in itself. And so I remember one specific practice for me that was an absolute nightmare. I ended up showing up to a 7 p.m. Muay Thai class. And for some reason, it's like the cursed class for me, because I either always get injured in that class when I go, or something wonky happens to my appendages, like toes or fingers, anyway. I remember I was sparring with a guy who was a light heavyweight. He was dropping in. He got me off on a couple of good shots, and it felt like after that, it was like a bad golf game. Have you guys ever been into a golf game where you make one bad shot and then mentally you're just a disaster after that, and nothing anyone can do or say can redeem you? That was me. And so, but instead it's in Muay Thai, so now you're feeling pain on top of not having a good time. So I end up resetting the next round, and it was with a lightweight. The dude was smoking me with a whole slew of combos, leg kicks, knees to the body. I mean, he really tooled me up, and he wasn't even throwing that hard, honestly. But he was connecting. And so another round goes by, and the same thing happens. It was just like one thing after the next, like a domino effect. I remember coming home with the radio off. How many of you guys have had that moment where you come from jiu-jitsu or you come from striking and you don't say anything, you don't think about anything, you're just blank, just a blank canvas with that like mean mug look on your face, but it's not mean, it's more like disparaged. And you just stare out into the abyss. It's almost comparable to the feeling like after you finish a really hard set lifting and you stare into someone's soul, like that kind of look. But I remember just getting back home, and Sloan and I were supposed to go out that night. I remember it so vividly, and I just told her, like, leave me here. Like, I'm going to be in the shower for the next like half an hour and letting the hot water just run down my face. And I felt so disgusted with myself for my performance in practice. I could not let it go. I couldn't. And so instead of going out, and I was thinking about my wife, right? You know, her happiness comes first in my house. And I told her, I was like, let's go to Kava, if anything. Like, I don't want to go out for a full-fledged dinner. I'm just completely destroyed. And I end up going to Kava. We don't speak at all. And I told her, I'm like, look, it's not you. It's literally not you. I'm just in a really, really tough place right now mentally. And so it's funny to me because it's so relatable in other phases of life too, in other directions and other competitive outlets. Like if you do some sort of competition shooting, or, you know, if you're a jiu-jitsu guy too, like, and you do a tournament, or if you go to practice and you don't really feel that well and you perform like poop, you're probably not going to be the nicest person if you really take yourself serious and you want what's best for yourself in terms of a competitive landscape and environment. But we didn't talk at all through that whole dinner. And I got back home, and I just remember brushing my teeth solemnly and just turning over with my own blanket and just went to bed. And the next day, went back to normal. But golly, I won't ever forget that practice. Just the way it felt mentally. But I will say this: I did level up as a fighter and as a person. Sometimes you have to have those practices where you absolutely get the ever living poop kicked out of you, and it doesn't even have to be hard. I think that's the part that really messed me up the most. Is I was still learning the power of light sparring and technical sparring, and that's when I think it really clicked for me, because I got tuned up and I barely even got hit. It's like, how does that even equate in the same sentence? But it does. And that's really why I encourage every man to go out and try a martial art, because you get into that zone that you never knew existed. You think you think you've been there, especially if you're like a football player or lacrosse player, hockey player. Hockey players are savages, but you still haven't been in that zone before, where you get tuned up like that by someone smaller than you, and then you have to really recoup yourself and push on. So think about it. It's food for thought. And if you've been in that position as a fighter or a competitor, I'd love to hear it in the comment section. Thank you guys for listening to my little rant today about hard practices or just hard competitive spars. Let me know what y'all think as well. I'd love to hear the community. Thanks. Talk to you guys soon.